So why did you marry a person of ethnic background? Well, any other person asking this question would be in a lot of trouble. But hey, if you are some kind of people, you can ask pretty much anything, no matter how horrible it sounds. You're still good. Guys, welcome to the channel. And as always, remember, if you want to support the channel, do subscribe. We are definitely getting shadow banned here. There's not even a question anymore. If you want to learn more about survival and preparedness and also support the channel, my work, you have my books, Surviving the Economic Collapse and Street Survival Skills. These will definitely help you be better prepared. Part of being prepared is understanding the world in which we live, understanding the culture, the politics, and how everything is working, sometimes not really in your favor. Part of that is this sort of discussion. Now, let me just say this. I kind of like Candace Owens. I think she's pretty smart, and I mean, maybe not about so much about how smart she is or not. She seems to have a good head on her shoulders, let's put it that way. She understood what's important for her. She started a family, and she's always managed to navigate these complicated waters. No, when she was with the Daily Wire, I thought, that's kind of like selling your soul in many ways. Ben Shapiro is not someone that I align with pretty much on anything, even though he's supposed to be conservative. It's a very strange type of conservative. What is not strange these days, guys? I feel like fish out of the water most of the time. Definitely not with one side, and the one side that's supposed to represent my views often does not either. They are selling out to some of the more powerful and influential organizations in the world in a matter that is not beneficial for most of us, and it's quite obvious. But a lot of this is the culture debate, right, on what is right, what is wrong, that soapbox in which sometimes those with a higher moral ground, I guess, stand and lecture the rest of us. Well, let's listen to what this fine gentleman was asking Candace Owens about the person that she decided to fall in love and marry.
Been used for evil.
Now, I want to go back to something you said earlier, because I know a lot of people will hear you say, well, Candace, you're speaking a lot about, the black family, but then you married a white man.
Yeah,
Dr. Umar would have a huge problem with that.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Dr. Umar?
I have
a huge problem. Why is it that anyone would have a huge problem with whoever marries whoever they I mean, I'm not trying to be why would you have a problem with an adult marrying adult woman? Candace Owens, she's no little child anymore. She's definitely a grown woman. She decided to marry a man that happens to be white. And that's not okay with a black gentleman apparently over here. Why? She's supposed to marry a black man. Now, is that something that you feel have any right to question? I think it's kind of messed up to even put that question out there, but hey.
I've heard of him. I have not listened to him, I'll be honest. What is his argument, actually, if you could just repurpose his argument?
He feels
everything
that,
black.
No.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
No,
every damn
No, he feels black men should be with black women, because when you're talking about it from an economic standpoint, you want to grow.
Strange, because what I see on TV, the media, is the complete opposite. All TV series, all advertising. I actually saw a study, and I didn't think it was worth doing a dedicated video, but it's like it is the over-representation of something that's not real. This black-white couple all the time. Always. There's not a single thing you see on TV that's not a black and white couple. Usually it's going to be a white woman with a black dude. That's the way it is. And it's usually going to be that in advertising, any white male is presented as someone incapable, stupid, weak, someone that you would not like to be represented in. You don't feel someone you would like to align with. It's the demonizing of what is basically the main problem with the planet, the patriarchy of the white male, apparently. So that goes against this idea of, so You're saying that white people should marry white people and black people should marry white people and have children within. It's kind of the thing that we used to consider a little bit messed up, because as long as you're a grown adult, right, you can marry anyone you feel like starting a family with, if that's your objective. So you see how on one hand they don't like it when it's Candace Owens. But why is it? Well, because Candace Owens is considered to be a little bit more of the intellectual representation of this particular community, and it doesn't go well when she goes on a different project for her own life, apparently.
The wealth as a black family.
But that doesn't.
And if you marry somebody from another race, then your wealth will be with that person.
As far as I know, it's all human race. He's talking about ethnicity, which, dude, okay, sure. And I'm not entirely disagreeing with him in terms of, yes, if you want to, and this is the contradictory thing, the irony with it all, which is the more diversity, inclusion, and integration you have, and mixed matching of diversity as seen in all of the advertising, the less diversity you will have. It will be all kind of like the same thing. It will all be like someone sort of looking like, a slightly more tan white person. That's what you'll end up with, because statistics don't lie. The choice that most people end up making always goes towards the same direction. And you will end up having certain ethnicities become more and more rare the more they mix and match with the people they feel like they are more attracted to, benefits their interests, which is something that a lot of people do to take into consideration when looking who to start a family with. Yes, believe it or not, that's something that some people look into. And that is how you will end up with some of the least appealing facial features, ethnicities, or whatever it is that is not really considered like more beneficial. You will end up losing that. So which one is it? Should you stay within your ethnicity? Should you find someone that you're just in love with, or feel more feel a more important intellectual connection, which at the end of the day should matter a heck of a lot more than how much pigmentation you have in your skin, right? That is what, at least the way I see it, that's what most smart, intelligent individuals think. Most people that have a double-digit IQ, I would like to think that they would agree that, yeah, you don't marry or fall in love with pigmentation or ethnic features one way or the other, or whatever the hell. No, you fall in love with a person. Oh, yes, you get to meet that person. You like that personality. You like what he has in mind for a life, the idea of having a family, how hardworking he or she is. All of these things usually tend to matter a heck of a lot more than how black or white you are. But hey, that only works in some discussions. In the others, it is all about the cover and not the content of the book.
And he doesn't like that.
Okay, I would love to talk to him more about that, because I mean, it's always very interesting to me to hear this paradox of black people who will make an argument that the system is racist, and then also make an argument like this, which is essentially making an argument for the Supreme Court to revisit Virginia versus Love and basically say that black Americans and white Americans shouldn't be marrying.
That's segregation. That's what we used to understand and know as segregation. The idea that, yeah, you stay within your own people, right? So they're making an argument for, yeah, well, segregation was really not a bad idea. We actually have to go back to that. That's the argument they're making. Now, if this had been said by a white person, your life would be over. If any white person says what this fine gentleman there just said, or the people that he's quoting, the doctor, whatever the hell it is that he was quoting, those people would not be allowed in YouTube. You would be not shadow banned. You would just be directly banned for the terms of service of YouTube. You will be immediately banned. You will never have a channel here again. You will be a social pariah, and your life it will be over. But if you're a black guy saying this, That's okay. Okay. I'll actually listen to what you're saying as if you may have a point, right? All right. Little differences that we have to come to terms with.
I think the greatest thing ever is when people come together on the basis of who they love and get married. For me personally, I never thought of my husband as a race. This is very interesting to me that see people go, she's married to a white man. When I look at my kids, I'm not like, oh, my kids are mixed. I married the person that it made the most sense for me to marry. I have a mind that is just, if you even knew half the things that I'm thinking about, the stuff that I'm reading, just go all the time. It was difficult for me to find a partner that was a challenge to me, the challenge that I needed.
Yeah, the challenge also happens to be one of the wealthiest families in Britain, I believe. Candace Owens is not that smart. You can tell that right away. She's not an idiot. She's not a giant ass brain, right? She's very driven. She is extremely ambitious, which is her greatest virtue by far. Super ambitious person, and she's not some of the things she said in that Joe Rogan interview was pretty bad. When you start going into that mind, it is not the brightest mind of our generation. Let's just put it that way. She's ambitious. She knows what she wants, and that's fantastic. And many of the things she says, being somewhat of a conservative voice, we kind of agree with. But she wanted to marry a damn rich British guy, and she obviously saw that being white was not a problem for her. Maybe even something that, yes. My kids will be, you know what? Your kids will be more like what? More like Barack Obama? More like Zendaya or whatever the hell the name is that actress goes for. Yeah. It is that sweet spot, darling. It's that thing that they obviously feel appeals to the most. So, yeah. I think she did very well for herself. And I will assume that she married someone that she actually liked a lot, or maybe even loves. And she has her kids. What else do you want in life? What more could you possibly want? She's doing fine. She's doing great for Candace Owens. She even got rid of that creep Ben Shapiro out of her life. She doesn't need him anymore. She was wealthy already, married to an extremely wealthy dude. She's even richer than before, super wealthy. So, yeah, she's good. Now, in terms of our discussion is, how interesting is it that on one hand, we are monsters. If you're a white person, you're considered a monster. You're considered something that is not acceptable. If you're a white man, you're the worst that you possibly could be. And yet, on the other hand, you can have these sort of discussions like, wait a minute, aren't you supposed to stay within your race or your ethnic group? And no one bats an eye.
Whether you want to say an academic challenge, whatever it is, with my same interests. It just was. What you will know, a lot of times people think that when people come together, it's because of how they look. Actually, I actually read this in a Thomas Sowell book, or maybe it was a Shelby Steele book. People tend to marry their IQ, which is interesting. You think like if you see two black people together, oh, it's because they are two black people, but actually they are probably better matched based on their IQ. I fell in love with my husband just because I think he is one of the most brilliant people ever.
Okay, enough of Candace. And again, I think she did very well for herself. I think she married someone that is, I may have seen a picture. She didn't marry some old creep. No, he's a someone that is a young guy from a very prestigious British family with a shitload of money. Great, fine. That is, and if he actually loves her, and what could you possibly have against that? Nothing at all. Point being the other thing, the thing of how we're being constantly bombarded with the mixed race couple thing, when the number I got was like 50. It's like 50 or 60% of the couples that you see in advertising are mixed race. In reality, it's less than 1% or something along those lines. In reality, in the world, when you walk around, mixed couples will be. So it's exaggerated overrepresentation, and it's not because there's a little bit of a margin of error. No, there is a definite agenda, which is that's the way it should be. Now, there's people, of course, you've always had people, white people that have very strong opinions about, no, that is horrible, right? And you usually use a very strong word for those people, which I won't even reproduce here on YouTube because I will get in trouble for even saying it. But on the other hand, if you have some a black guy saying the exact same thing, that's all okay, right? Do I completely 100% disagree with the black guy? Actually, no. He's actually right about that thing, about the more you mix things up, the less diversity you actually have, because diversity within its own word means having diversity is basically having different things, right? Having a diverse selection of actors in a movie, right? In the way that these people care about, it's not going to be about anything very complex or intelligent or sophisticated. No, it's going to be about the way they would look in terms of their skin color. That is as far as these poor, shallow minds reach, right? Not in terms of different character developments and some. No, it's right. Bringing out the little chart from the paint shop, and just like in the chapter in that Family Guy episode, right? I need to have all of these boxes ticked, right? When everyone mixes with everyone, you will no longer have that. You will no longer have a gradient of tanning or pigmentation in the skin. It will all be kind of like the same. And is it bad to lose that? I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. Guess I personally like the idea of having diversity in terms of geographic, cultural, historical aspect. You know, people from different parts of the world looking in a different way because of how they've adapted to their environment and exposure to sun and this and that. I think that's pretty damn cool. I don't have an issue with that remaining. Now, is it on me to say, no, you have to stay within your tribe, Candace Owens? I think that's pretty fucked up to even bring that up. But hey, that's just me. Guys, see you in our next video. Have an awesome day. Take care.